Welcome to episode 34 of the Rockin' Wellness Podcast. I am your host, R.J.O Olson. I am a wellness junkie and a coach whose mission is to help women stop hating what they see in the mirror, discover their deepest desires, and live a healthy and inspired life. So sit back and relax as we get into today's topic. In today's podcast, you are going to learn how to live your life in good karma, according to the Dalai Lama. For those of you who have never heard of him, the Dalai Lama is the head monk of Tibetan Buddhism and traditionally has been responsible for the government of Tibet until the Chinese government took control in 1959. The current Dalai Lama is Tenzin Gyatso. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And according to a brief biography on the Dalai Lama's website, the DalaiLama.com, which I will post on the show notes page for this episode so you can take a look and learn more about him. His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, describes himself as a simple Buddhist monk. I researched some of the Dalai Lama's principal commitments and thought I'd share them here with you. I was interested to learn this information because I really didn't know myself. On the website, DalaiLama.com, it states that the Dalai Lama has 4 principal commitments. I will quote them here for you. Firstly, as a human being, His Holiness is concerned with encouraging people to be happy, helping them understand that if their minds are upset, mere physical comfort will not bring them peace. But if their minds are at peace, even physical pain will not disturb their calm. He advocates the cultivation of warm-heartedness and human values such as compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, contentment, and self-discipline. He says that as human beings, we are all the same. We all want happiness and do not want suffering. Even people who have no religious belief can benefit if they incorporate these human values into their lives. His Holiness refers to such human values as secular ethics or universal values. He is committed to talking about the importance of such values and sharing them with everyone he meets. Secondly, as a Buddhist monk, His Holiness is committed to encouraging harmony among the world's religious traditions. Despite philosophical differences between them, all major world religions have the same potential to create good human beings. It is therefore important for all religious traditions to respect one another and recognize the value of their respective traditions. The idea that there is one truth and one religion is relevant to the individual practitioner. However, with regard to the wider community, he says there is a need to recognize that human beings observe several religions and several aspects of the truth. Thirdly, His Holiness is a Tibetan, and as the Dalai Lama is the focus of the Tibetan people's hope and trust. Therefore, he is committed to preserving Tibetan language and culture. The heritage Tibetans receive from the masters of India's Nalanda University, while also speaking up for the protection of Tibet's natural environment. In addition, His Holiness has lately spoken of his commitment to reviving awareness of the value of ancient Indian knowledge among young Indians today. His Holiness is convinced that the rich ancient Indian understanding of the workings of the mind and emotions, as well as the techniques of mental training such as meditation, developed by Indian traditions, are of great relevance today. Since India has a long history of logic and reasoning, he is confident that its ancient knowledge, viewed from a secular academic perspective, can be combined with modern education. He considers that India is, in fact, specially placed to achieve this combination of ancient and modern modes of knowledge in a fruitful way, so that a more integrated and ethically grounded way of being in the world can be promoted within contemporary society. Wow, what a role in life to play, wouldn't you agree? Helping people gain happiness, encouraging harmony amongst the world's religions, bringing his people hope and trust, and of reviving awareness of the value of ancient Indian knowledge. A life so committed to service is definitely one we can all learn from. So before we get into the list of 19 ways that we can all live our lives with good karma, I'd like to define the word karma. According to Wikipedia, karma is essentially energy. One person throws out energy through thoughts, words, and actions, and it comes back in time through other people. Karma is the best teacher, forcing people to face the consequences of their own actions and thus improve and refine their behavior or suffer if they don't. Even harsh karma, when faced in wisdom, can be the greatest spark for spiritual growth. The conquest of karma lies in intelligent action and unemotional response. And then there's karma yoga. Karma yoga is the yoga of action. Many people actually practice karma yoga on a daily basis and don't even realize it. Any of us in the healing modalities of our work are often considered karma yogis, and many of us don't even know. But karma yoga is about purifying your heart by learning to act selflessly in service of others. Karma yoga was first outlined in the Bhagavad Gita, the 700-verse Hindu scripture estimated to date back to somewhere between the 5th and 2nd centuries BCE. The Bhagavad Gita offers several approaches to liberation from suffering, self-realization, and connection with the divine, of which karma yoga is arguably the most practical. The text highlights the importance of selfless action in which service is offered from the heart with full attention and awareness. Attachment to the outcome of one's action is said to bring suffering, particularly when something is expected in return. In order to truly practice karma yoga, we must act with no expectations and serve others without thinking of the results. As such, karma yoga diminishes the ego and helps to dissolve any sense of separation between self and other. Acting in this way is believed to purify the mind, and it is considered the most virtuous approach to service. Although volunteering one's time and effort is a common example of karma yoga, the concept teaches that all actions, even the most mundane, can become part of one's spiritual path. It is considered the attitude to the action rather than the action itself, which makes up karma yoga. The essence of the practice is to act with the right motives in the right way to the best of one's ability, while surrendering attachment to the outcome. To karma yogis, selfless action is a form of prayer and connection with the divine. Some teachings even suggest mantra chanting while engaging in karma yoga in order to purify the mind and develop a selfless mindset. Practicing karma yoga also involves fully accepting one's dharma or duty in life in order to let go of selfish desires. Through karma yoga, we learn kindness and compassion without an expectation of gain. The idea being that learning these lessons helps us to step away from our ego, freeing us to move one step further on the path to enlightenment. Whatever you choose to do, making service a regular part of your life is key to practicing karma yoga. When it comes to karma yoga, it is important that the service comes from a selfless place. It's about giving to those in need, sharing love, and spreading light. Some ways to encourage this mindset are to practice keeping a mental mantra, something that reminds you of the purpose of your service and keeps you grounded outside of the ego. Another useful practice is just to get to know the people you're serving. Rather than thinking of service in the abstract, get on the ground and communicate with those you serve. Let yourself be humbled by their knowledge and experience. Forge meaningful connections and let yourself be touched by their lives and their stories. In this way, karma yoga can become more than just a practice. It can become a way of life. Now let's move on to the 19 ways the Dalai Lama suggests we can live our life in good karma. I will take you through each one of these suggestions and just add some thoughts of my own that may help further your understanding of the suggestion. So the first one, great love and great achievements involved great risk. Now let's talk about love. Have you ever taken a leap of faith and jumped in headfirst into a new relationship, even though you knew you might get hurt? Sometimes we need to do that. Take those leaps of faith to experience something great. What about great achievements? There's a quote out there that I really love, and it says, "Well-behaved women rarely make history." This quote pretty much says it all. How many women, or people in general, have taken great risks to make a difference in the world? Some people have even risked or sacrificed their life to accomplish great things. I guess the question here is, what are you willing to risk to have great love and accomplish great things in your life? The second, when you lose, don't lose the lesson. Any successful person, whether it's success in business, sports, or just life in general, will tell you that they had to fail many times before they reached their level of success. Ellen DeGeneres is quoted to have said, "When you take risks, you learn that there will be times when you succeed and there will be times when you fail, and both are equally important." The key here is to make sure to learn from your successes and failures. Losing is not a bad thing. It's actually after these times that pushes people towards real success. Yet there are so many people who are afraid to fail, so they just don't bother doing anything at all. I was like that for a really long time, thinking, what was the point of doing anything if I wasn't perfect at it, or I wasn't going to be guaranteed success? This is now my daily practice, consciously getting out of my comfort zone and doing things that may cause me to fail. So ask yourself now, when was the last time you didn't do something because you were afraid to fail? Now ask, what could you do that would cause you to fail so that you can learn the lessons that come with it? Number 3, follow the 3 R's. 1, respect for self. 2, respect for others. And 3, responsibility for your actions. Let's review each one on its own. Respect for self is a lesson many of us need to learn and be reminded of. Too often, we are more concerned about the well-being or happiness of others that we completely disregard our own well-being and happiness. Respecting the self means to love, cherish, and have compassion for yourself as a human and sentient being. Treating your body, your mind, and soul as the great gifts they are is so important. This actually leads into the second R, respect for others. When you treat yourself with respect, you are able to treat others with respect. This includes all sentient beings. Treating others with respect, in my opinion, is the most basic thing we can do to be a good human being. If more people followed this one simple action, the world would be a better place. Finally, the third one, take responsibility for your actions. Wow, how hard is this one for so many of us? When we act poorly, feel angry or sad, we often don't want to take responsibility for our actions or the part we played in the situation. However, if integrity is on your personal list of values at all, then you know how important it is to take responsibility for your actions. Number 4, remember that not getting what you want is sometimes a wonderful stroke of luck. What great advice! How often have you begged God or the universe or whatever you want to call it to bring something or someone into your life only to not get it or have things turn out in a completely different way than you could have ever imagined? Maybe you really wanted this new job you've had your eye on for a while and you didn't get it. But soon after, a better one came along. Not getting what you want is usually a good sign. It just means that something better is yet to come. Number 5. Learn the rules so you know how to break them properly. As I was researching into the meaning of this suggestion for karmic living, I came across a blog that had an interesting perspective on this. The author, Jonathan Thompson, says that, quote, perhaps the key is to find a balance, a willingness to respect a rule when we encounter it, but also a healthy curiosity as to its continuing purpose and an examination of its greater aim. We should seek to learn what the rule has to teach us, and having obtained that insight, we can follow the rule more confidently, or bend or break it at appropriate times, or, if the rule is now rotten or no longer useful, abandon it entirely. But essential to any of these options is an understanding of both the rule's original intent and its current application. In comparing these two aspects, we can proceed with genuine wisdom. As Richard Rohr says, people who know how to creatively break the rules also know why the rules were there in the first place. They are not just mere rebels. So to learn the rules means not just a rote memorization or a surface-level understanding, but a deeper comprehension with regards to intent and effects. Once we attain that kind of insight, we are in a place to confidently break the rules when necessary. End quote. I also believe it's important for us to always be asking questions when the government makes decisions that so significantly impact people's lives physically, mentally, and economically. Asking questions is not a bad thing. It's how we all get to really understand the truth of what's going on. The problem nowadays is if you happen to even ask a question to gain clarity on a situation that happens to go against the opinion of someone else, you run the risk of being called a conspiracy theorist or having other negative comments and behaviors thrown your way. What happened to just asking questions? If you look back in history, there were many bad people in governments who led people to their deaths because people were just not brave enough to ask questions or learn how to break the rules. Just food for thought. Number 6, don't let a little dispute injure a great relationship. Have you ever had this happen to you? The stupidest little argument turned into a huge thing that potentially caused you to lose a relationship with a family member, a friend, or romantic partner? I'm sure we all have. I find that the issue here is often lack of communication and, reflecting back to an earlier point, a person having a lack of respect for the self, others, and not wanting to take responsibilities for one's actions. Now, if this is a relationship you have with someone you truly care about, you might want to come to your senses, talk it out, and make up. However, if this is a relationship with someone who uses and abuses you repeatedly, you might find it best to remember the 3 R's and have some respect for yourself and maybe let them go with love and light. I had to do this not too long ago with a longtime friend of mine. She got mad at me over something completely silly, and to this day, I don't even really understand what it was that actually upset her. But she's done this many times before. And now, don't get me wrong, I fully understand my role in any situation and take responsibility for my actions once I know specifically what I did. However, I've also realized that in this case, it's probably best just to let her go with love and light. We have grown apart over the years, we have nothing in common, and it's probably just time to move on. Although you want to make sure little disputes don't injure great relationships, I believe you also want to make sure you're not hanging on to something or someone that is no longer serving you in a positive way. Think now to relationships you would like to heal or those that you may be ready to let go of. Number 7, when you've realized you've made a mistake, take immediate steps to correct it. I feel this one goes right back to taking responsibility for one's own actions. If you make a mistake, don't try to place blame on anyone else. Admit responsibility for your actions, fix it, and move on. It will cause you a lot less grief in the long run. Don't you agree? So is there anything in your life right now that you need to fix? Number 8, spend some time alone every day. Spending time alone is something that many people don't like to do. Spending time alone often means having to look at yourself, your feelings, your actions, and sometimes even your demons that you do not want to face. I've personally never had a problem spending time alone. Actually, most times I prefer it. However, spending quality time alone with yourself in silent meditation or contemplation is physically, emotionally, and spiritual healing, and truly is the key to any transformation. Number 9, open your arms to change, but don't let go of your values. I think that before you can be open to change, you must be clear on your values or the things that are the non-negotiables for you and how you want to live your life. When you're clear on your values, then when you collect all the facts, be open to new possibilities that may come along. For example, I choose to live a vegan lifestyle for various reasons. Agree with me or not, doesn't really matter. But my reasons are for health, for animal welfare, and to help reduce negative impacts on the world. There is no way anything will change my mind. However, when I first became vegan, I thought that to be a good vegan, I had to make sure that I also ate a supremely clean diet. Then vegan baking, fast food, and other convenience foods came out, and I had to ask myself, does eating a vegan burger from a fast food restaurant make me a bad person? And that answer is definitely no. However, there are some vegans out there who chastise people for eating a vegan burger from a from a restaurant that isn't vegan. And I think it's a shame. We should be promoting that. Another question I had to ask is it okay to eat vegan junk food every once in a while? Yeah, it is. We don't have to be perfect. I know this is kind of a silly and simple example, but I think it kind of proves a point. As long as you're staying true to your core values, be open to things that may come along that potentially make your life easier or improve the way you're doing things now. So ask yourself, is there anything that I'm being rigid about that I could be open to changing? Number 10, remember that silence is sometimes the best answer. We live in a busy go, go, go world that seems to never stop. But have you ever just for a moment stopped, closed your eyes, sat in silence, and noticed what happened? This silence, even if for a brief moment, allows us to get into a state of calm, which in turn allows us to have more clarity in life. Experts say the best communicators are the ones who stay quiet and actively listen to the other person speak. Do you do this? Well, it's a great time, wonderful opportunity when you're listening to someone to learn about the person who's standing in front of you. So ask yourself, are there times when I can just choose to be silent? What would happen if I was silent and just took a moment to listen? Number 11, live a good, honorable life. Then when you look back, you'll be able to enjoy it a second time. Oh, I love this one. It's a good reminder for us all to stop and think about how we want to live our lives. I encourage you to take a look at how you're living your life right now. Are you doing what you want to do for work? Do you surround yourself with the kinds of people who support, love, and respect you? Do you live your life in integrity and in alignment with your values? If you died tomorrow and you looked back on how you've lived your life so far, would you be happy to relive it? If you're not answering yes to these questions, I encourage you to switch things up this year. Start making simple shifts that will allow you to live the life you desire. Number 12. A loving atmosphere in your home is the foundation for your life. I find it extremely heartbreaking to think about how many people are living in traumatic and unloving homes right now. My wish for you and anyone who's listening right now is that if you are not in a loving home, that you find the courage and strength to either leave that situation or find ways to transform it. And if you are one of the lucky ones who are living in a loving home right now, I hope you cherish it and find the blessing in it each day. Number 13. In disagreements with loved ones, deal only with the current situation. Don't bring up the past. None of us can do anything about what's happened in the past, so why do so many people feel the need to bring it up? We see this happening in politics all the time. So-and-so did something 25 years ago, so that means he or she is a bad person. Jeez, I certainly wouldn't want people judging the person I am now based on my actions in the past. Would you? I'm a completely different person than I was 5 years ago, let alone 10, 20, or even 30 years ago. I encourage you now that if you get into an argument with someone, just deal with the here and now. Eckhart Tolle teaches that it's important to live in the present moment, the now, as it is the only moment that truly matters. And if you haven't read his book, The Power of Now, I suggest you put that on your to-do list this year. I'll put that in the show notes as well. Number 14. Share your knowledge. It's the way to achieve immortality. So many people are looking for the next best anti-aging solution or ways to live forever, but we all know this is impossible. That's why I loved this Karma Living suggestion. Look back to the great leaders and scholars of the past, the people and disciples who shared their great wisdom that have turned into scriptures that world religions today still follow. Or inventors or scientists like Albert Einstein and his great contributions to science, and some of his quotes that people still quote today, one of my favorites being, "The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results." Or what about Tony Robbins, who has completely changed the industry of self-development because of his teachings? These are people and teachings many generations will remember and learn from. You can do the same. You might not end up being a great inventor or a world-renowned teacher and speaker like Tony Robbins, but you do have knowledge to share. We live in a world of social media where this has become easier than ever before. If you have a message and knowledge that will help people in a positive way, share it. One of my mentors said, "You aren't helping anyone by playing small and keeping your knowledge to yourself." Now, isn't that the truth? Number 15. Be gentle with the earth. I sure wish this one was on the top of people's list of karmic living. Human beings, unfortunately, are a cancer to this planet. And David Attenborough's latest documentary, A Life on Our Planet, gives us a grim look on what we have done to our beautiful planet. In less than 100 years, we've destroyed almost 70% of the natural world. That is absolutely insane to me. It really makes me wonder how intelligent beings, as we profess to be, have allowed this to happen. Yet there are ways we can change this that are well known, such as eliminating animal products from our diet or even reducing our intake. Stop cutting down the rainforest and destroying the wild animal population, and embrace more biodiversity and learn to live within nature's means again. And you can even make simple changes to be gentle with the earth today, even if it's simply picking up after yourself and not littering. Number 16. Once a year, go someplace you've never been before. When's the last time you jumped in the car and just drove? Maybe you knew your destination, maybe not. But just jumped in the car and see the countryside and experience new things along the way. This is one of my favorite things to do every summer. I have not made traveling to exotic locations a priority in my life, and although I'd love to see numerous places around the world, you really don't need to spend a lot of money to see new places and have experiences. Last summer, my family and I decided to go camping in Nelson, BC. When we got to the campground, we realized it was small, cramped, and, excuse the language, but hot as hell. It was 40 degrees Celsius all that weekend. So we made the last minute decision to book a motel in Trail, BC, which was the closest place we could find, and went for it. Now, Trail, BC is definitely not somewhere we would have chosen to book when we were planning our trip. But the little motel we found was great. It had huge rooms, bigger than any room I'd ever had before, with a very affordable price, a fitness center, and 2 pools, an indoor and an outdoor pool. It was also within driving distance to the Nancy Green National Park, where we had a lovely barbecue, a hike, and a swim in the lake, and we found this great little creek where we took pictures to commemorate our trip. Although not what we had planned, we went with the flow, were open to change, and ended up having a great time. I challenge you to do that this year. Go somewhere you've never been. Take lots of pictures, stay in the moment, and allow it to be an experience you will never forget. Number 17. Remember that the best relationship is one in which your love for each other exceeds your need for each other. Too many people are living in codependent relationships and are not experiencing life and relationships to the fullest. Many years ago, I saw a counselor to work through some relationship issues I was having, and she had me read a book. I can't remember the name of it right now. It's kind of driving me a little crazy, but it made me realize that the relationships I had always been in were codependent. According to an article in Medical News Today, a person who is codependent will plan their entire life around pleasing the other person or the enabler. In its simpler terms, a codependent relationship is one where a partner needs the other partner, who in turn needs to be the needed. This circular relationship is the basis of what experts refer to when they describe the cycle of codependency. This type of relationship is not healthy and doesn't allow either person to be their best selves. So I encourage you, choose relationships with people who you can love and still keep the love and respect you have for yourself. Number 18. Judge your success by what you had to give up in order to get it. When I first read this statement, I thought it meant that in order to be successful, you have to make sacrifices to get there. Now, of course, there's sacrifices to be made when working towards any goal you have for your life. However, after contemplating this statement again, I realize it means that is your success worth what you had to give up to get it? Meaning, if you had to sacrifice the love of your life or sabotage your health to be successful, was it worth it? Although I've always been someone who desires success and have accomplished many great things in my life, I'm also not someone who's willing to step on other people to get ahead, sacrifice my health or relationships with people I love to get success. But that's just me. Think about your success in life. When you look back on your life, will you still feel successful with the choices that you have made? Number 19, final one. Certainly none of these are not in order of importance, but we'll finish here with number 19. Approach love and cooking with reckless abandon. If we look at this statement contextually, love and cooking are associated with bliss and purity. Both allow you to unleash parts of yourself you have never imagined seeing or knowing. Whether you're loving someone or are cooking a delicious meal, it means you are throwing everything you can into such an act without considering the consequences. Well, there you have it. Rules for Karmic Living from the Dalai Lama. I encourage you to visit the show notes page for this episode at rjowellness.com/podcast/episode-34, where you will find a link to the written blog. There you can go back and review each of the 19 karmic living suggestions and begin to plan your life accordingly. Until next time, my friends, keep rockin' your wellness. Thanks for joining me on this episode of the Rockin' Wellness Podcast. Make sure to visit my website at www.rjowellness.com, where you can subscribe to the show and check out all the show notes. While you're at it, if you found value in this podcast, if you'd simply tell a friend about it, that would help out too. You may choose to join the R.J.O Wellness community to take advantage of the freebies, courses, and coaching that will take your voyage to the next level, or support this podcast with your monthly membership. Until next time, my friends, keep rocking your wellness.